eMULTIpoetry is my authorized project that consists of seeking some new ways for poetry so as to let it exist in the contemporary world. According to my definition, poetry has lost its typical force and vigor, sentenced to slow death on the most forsaken bookshop shelves. The book is no more an appropriate medium for its vigorous power, but it needs a lot of courage and determination to redefine and reproject the whole poetical horizon in the reality where ever names of the streets are changing because of the collapse of the book influence. Well, the original root of eMULTIpoetry is cabaret, because in Poland we have a huge... So I invented a scenario according to which my poems used to be sold during the showtime. This unique form in which poetry can function at the cabaret is grounded on the rule that half an hour after the start, approximately, after the start of the show, the cabaret announcer makes a bid for a poem that does not exist. The person who makes the highest bid for the poem has the right to decide about the shape and content of this poem. What we see here is the standardized order for the poem that I write in the cabaret. The announcer takes the order, which is standardized by the formula, according to which, as you can see here, we can choose literature sort in the first row, and it's idyll, ballad, song, limerick, sonnet. Then he can choose topic like love, adventure, science fiction, comedy, criminal, and nature. Nature of the poem: scandalous, erotic, cynical, reflective, positively elevating, and demoralizing. Then the announcer continues a conversation with the client to get some personal news about him and the person he wants the poem to be dedicated for, because usually somebody buys a poem for somebody else. I take some notes, as you see here. I have this formula with me. I take some notes and I disappear behind the scenes to write a poem. As you can see here, there is an order made 31st of May 2002, and somebody bought it for 200 zloty, and it's lyric about love, positively elevating. So I take notes, I disappear behind the scenes, and I write the poem. As you see, that's how I wrote this poem on this in this particular day. This poem I read aloud at the end of the showtime. The person who buys the poem by auction leaves the money at the bar for the purposes of drinking, eating, and enjoyment, and the party goes on. Since 2002, I have been conducting meetings with invited guests, which are informal in nature, with no official promotion, during which I talk with people on the subject chosen by them. During that conversation, I take notes, on the basis of which I compose a poem, so all the present people can read it, copy it, and take it home. It is a form of an intimate functioning of the poetry without any interference of the media, and not meant to attract a bigger audience. Of course, the worth of the action is being evaluated by the quality of the poems and the possibility to use them in the future. They are poetic stamps imprinted on the pavements of various towns. Each stamp includes a short poem with 2 or 4 lines. The first action of this sort was initiated in Krakow in July 2002. Of course, there's also one basic thing. These poems are written especially for pavements, and I write them once a year. We make an action throughout the Poland, and this year, last year, as many as 36 towns took part in this action, and it was one day with many cooperatives, young people. We print this one poem on the streets of many cities. In one city, it's approximately 100 copies. Poems on House Walls is an authorized project according to which my successive poems are projected all calendar year round, one poem each day, on the facade of the building located at Bratka Street in Krakow. Now you can see in Krakow. The action still goes on the facade of the building located at 2 Bratka Street in Krakow, night by night, from sunset to sunrise. This action is conducted under the auspices of the President of the city of Krakow. But my contact with internet began with chat and online poetry writing, which takes place now every week in the eMULTIpoetry chat room. I compose a poem along with all those people who have decided to chat with me. The poem is created with use of the following procedure. First, the chat gets moderated, which means that the surfers will be able to see only the subsequent lines of the progressing poem on their screens. Then the participating net surfers suggest the topic or title for the poem. I, as moderator, choose one of the suggestions that have been sent in. The surfers suggest and send their concepts of the first line to the moderator. I choose one of them. I am allowed to alter and leave a line for later on, and send it back to the surfers. They see the first line, write the next one, and so on. In 2008, the project eMULTIpoetry has entered a new stage in the process of international online writing and translating poetry. Under the eMULTIpoetry project, we will now cooperate with poetry lovers and poets in France, Spain, Germany, Italy, and Greece. As a result, we will establish an internet library of poems translated and written online. So we also will establish video games in which people could write poems in different new genres. Poems on chats, poems for pavements, poems for walls, poems for songs even.